Okay guys, we're back on this 2009 Nissan Versa. We're going to do back brakes now. So I've just taken loose the 4 lug nuts. Let's go ahead and pull the tire off. Cute little tiny tires. Then we got to get this drum off. There's a couple ways to do this now. These things like to be tight. Most of the time you can just grab a hammer and just tap on the side like this and that'll shake them loose. Sometimes in here and sometimes in the middle or around. If you're going to tap anywhere in the middle here, then put a little pressure on here with your fingers when you do it. If it's extremely tight, then you're going to have to pull it off. These 2 bolts straight across here are for that reason, or bolt holes I should say. So we can just throw a bolt in there on both sides, etc. And then I have this little pulley here. You can just use a piece of metal with a nut in the middle if you don't have the pulley. And there's several different kinds. You can use crow's foot, etc. I don't normally use a crow's foot in here because they like to hit the studs. They're so close to each other. So I'll throw the other bolt in on this side. I'll just tighten this down and this will just come right off really easily. But try it with a hammer first and see if you can get away with that so you don't have to buy no tools or make a tool. So it's all about saving money, right? So let's get that off and let's take a look at those shoes. So I tried tapping with a hammer and it wouldn't come, so I'm just going to crank it with this. I just cranked it once and snapped a little bit and then it's sliding right off. You can see it's just moving it right off. So if you can't get it with a hammer, the other thing is to make sure that your emergency brake is off, because if your emergency brake is pulled up, that's definitely going to catch this. And sometimes if the brakes are so bad that it grooves inside the drum, that won't allow it either. So, and in that case, if you have a spoon, I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but there's a hole back here on some vehicles. This particular vehicle does not have one, but there are some holes back there where you can use a spoon and back those brakes off. So let's go ahead and take this off the rest of the way, and like I said, we'll inspect those brakes. So she should just pull right off now. Here we go. So they're a little bit thin on this side here. The biggest thing about them not being so thin is how they're like polished. You see how hard that is? It's hard and it's smooth, and that's one of the reasons they're having the problem with this brake. It's not necessarily the thickness of the shoe, it's the temperness of the top of the shoe itself, because it's just slipping right on the drum. We can inspect the inside of the drum here, take a quick look, rub our hand around the outside in this direction. We don't feel no warpage, we don't feel no grooves, so that's good. We caught it before there was any issue. Now the new brakes, they're going to be roughed up a little bit, and the texture of them, I know you can't tell, but this is really grippy here, where this is smooth like a tabletop. Not good. So definitely need to be changed. So we'll clean all this up, we'll take it apart, and we'll show you how to put all these springs and such back together, including how to take them apart. And that way you can get your brakes changed. So let's start off by using a pair of pliers somewhere here. The back of this pin right here goes all the way through. You can hold that with one hand and you can grab this and push in and give it a twist and that will come right off. So let me take those off real quick. Okay, so got both of those clips off there, and I pulled the bottom spring off here. It came off just like this. This side was on to the left, this side comes in from the back. And that really doesn't matter which direction you want to put that one. The top ones, they will matter. So now let's go ahead and pull this top spring off. We'll get our adjuster out, the tin for the adjuster, back spring, and this clip. Now there's one clip that comes with the new brakes that you're going to want to put back on. That's the only thing that you'll be swapping out. And check, make sure that you have this in your brake shoes. If not, you don't want to ruin the other one when you take it off, that's for sure. That's going to be on the back side of the emergency brake there that holds that on. So let's go ahead and pull these 2 springs here and get this thing separated apart. Okay, got ahead of myself a little bit because it all came apart so easily. I'm going to show you how to put it all back together, one piece at a time though. But when I pulled that first spring, this brake of course fell out and this one fell this way. One of the reasons that happens is because I always pull these first. I'm not used to making a video for this type of brake because I just knock them out. But had I not been making a video, that's the direction. Since I'm making a video, I should have kept these in and took all the springs and stuff off and then removed the springs for the shoes. But here we are anyway. So simply just took off those other 2 springs, the brake adjuster come out. Now the brake adjuster, you can see it's adjusted out. The best thing you want to do with that is run it in all the way flat when you put it back in because of the thickness of the shoes. And I'll show you where to adjust that when we get it back on. Also, when you're driving backwards and you hit the brakes, you'll get this readjusted and it'll go back into place where you want it. So grab this left shoe now, swing it down, and there's that clip we talked about on the back side. Let's pull that off. It's going to take a screwdriver, a little bit of force, and with a pair of pliers, and we'll knock it off, and then we'll get the new brakes on. Of course, we'll clean all this before we start reassembling anything. Okay, so we got that clip back on. Now we're going to set it back up in here, and we're going to put these little, this spring, this, and that cap back on. So that comes through the back. I don't know if I can do this with one hand, so I might have to show you just step by step how I'm doing it. But that's going to go through there just like that. Then the spring is going to go on it just like that. If we can get the spring to hold. And then this thing here, the simplest way to do this is to just grab it with a pair of pliers. Let's see if I can find a pair here. Okay, and my spring fell. Grab it like that. Let me grab some pliers here just a second. Okay, so I put the other clip on. Forgot I was recording here. So we're going to slide the pin through. Slide your brake pad on, or shoe. Put the spring on. Now, I'll set that back up there in a second. So this little clip here that goes on there, put the beveled side out and run it straight even with your pliers like that so that you can maneuver it. So we'll set the spring back on. Get it lined up somewhat straight. Just a little bit of pressure here until it's lined up. Once it's lined up, then you can push it in and turn it into place, just like that. And we'll give it another small turn so it's flat. So, and then we'll line these up with the master cylinder, or the slave cylinder, just like that. Now, the next step is going to be the middle size spring. So you can put your adjuster together here. You got all three springs and the adjuster clip that holds it, or adjust it. Get the middle size spring here. Now the adjuster is going to go on this side, so that's the side that you want to connect first. And it's going to go right in that small hole, and then this large square hole is where this one's going to go. And in this case, I think it might be easier to run that one in there, grab a flathead screwdriver, and just set it on there, and then push it towards that hole until it grabs. It doesn't have to come all the way in, as long as it holds there. Then you can grab a pair of needle nose and pop it into place. Much easier that way. Now take your adjuster, make sure that the threads are to the left. Now you're going to have one large hole or large clip and a small clip. The side to the right, you only have one. Move the small one towards you. So it's going to go in just like that, and then you can spread these apart. Slide that into place and get it popped back in. Adjust everything kind of mediocre. There we go. And now that's into place and it's adjusted all the way down. Now you can take your clip here, and that is going to sit just like that. So we want to just put it on the spring there and inside the clip, just like that. That stops the adjuster. Come over here so they can see how it grabs the adjuster right there. See that? As you backwards and hit the brake, that will rotate and lock it into place. That's what keeps it adjusted. So the last spring is going to go, again, the long piece towards the teeth. That way it doesn't hit the teeth. The last spring is going to go into, up here on the adjuster and into that same hole that the other spring went into. So we'll grab it, maybe. That one's going to be a little tougher. Oh, I say last spring, but it's actually the largest spring. The last spring will be on the bottom. See if I can get a hold of this thing. There's a set of brake tools that you can get for this, and I have a set somewhere, but you know me, it's all about saving money and doing it ourselves. I'm going to try to rotate the axle to give me that extra lift. Can't seem to get the needle nose to bite down hard enough. There, I got it on. Oh, but I just put it on backwards. Shoot. I'm not paying attention, guys. Alright, try it again. Just like that, just like that, just like that, and then we'll pop it into place. Seems to work better when it's on right, I guess. Alright, so then we'll line up the bottom, make sure they're good and tight. And we got to fix this cylinder. It just popped through. There we go. Had it leaking there. And so then the last one, and we're going to have to spray this with brake clean now. So the last one, we're just going to stretch right across itself right there. Oh, this direction. And we'll pop it into place. Oh, maybe. Just try to tap it, maybe. It's right on the edge. There it goes. And that's it. Line it up, and now we can adjust it and put our drum on. Okay, so now we're ready to put the drum back on. I had to clean that up with a little bit of brake clean because of that fluid. So now when I put the drum on, it is going to slide on. Well, maybe if I get it straight. It's going to slide on kind of easily. That one's not sitting in the right position. Oh, I'm going to end up popping that sill. All right, let's try it again. Now, see how it slides right on extremely easily? And that's okay because the brake will adjust by itself. Every time you go backwards, you'll get that click until finally it gets where it wants to be. But in this case, we are going to run it out just a little bit, and I'll show you how. See that teeth? We're just going to rotate it up, and you can see the gap right in between there as it's getting bigger. Every time you go backwards and hit the brakes, these will automatically adjust themselves. So now I've rotated it out about a 1/16 of an inch. I'll try it again. Extremely easy. If it's really easy to get on, just go a little bit more. And this just helps the backing up process. You don't have to do it so much. If it's too tight, you need to back it off and you'll have to hold that clip. So that still feels pretty easy. I'm gonna go a little bit more. Yeah, so you'll have to reach in there and pull this clip out to rotate it the opposite direction because that stops it from the brakes coming out of adjustment. So we'll go a little bit more, I think about a 1/4 of an inch. Right about there, and that's about half the distance it was before. And that felt a lot better. All right, so now we can clean this up a little bit, get our tire back on, tighten down those lug nuts, drop it off the jack, and we're done. I hope this video helped you out. Please click like, please click subscribe. There's a bunch of other stuff we're doing to this car, so click on my name underneath this video for all my other how-to videos, and you can just go into the search menu up there in the top right and type in Nissan, Versa, or whatever you have, and you'll find something similar or this particular vehicle. And as always, guys, enjoy.